Okay, let's get this started again. Real talk style. Where's the script this week? Minecraft and Dwarf Fortress. Nerd. Damn straight. Alright, but, these aren't narrative.
Yeah, I know, but that's kind of why I wanted to take a look at them. We've spent a lot of time talking about narrative and meaning, so what happens when we look at something that doesn't have a structured narrative at all? Skyrim has an extremely malleable narrative that lets you drift from plot thread to plot thread, but there's not a whole lot for you to do without getting caught in some kind of scripted story. Hell, you can't even run down the road for more than 5 minutes before some random chump runs up to you and hands you a quest. So, what happens to narrative in the absence of structure?
You know, we could have just used Koyaanisqatsi as the example.
True, but Koyaanisqatsi is still a fixed experience. Every time you watch it, the movie is going to be the same. I mean, sure, you'll come up with different meanings based on, things you've experienced since the last time you saw it or your mood at the time, but the movie itself isn't fundamentally going to change.
Okay, I see what you're getting at. I don't think it's going to go quite the way you want it to, but let's give it a shot. Minecraft and Dwarf Fortress are a pair of computer games that can best be described as creativity games, similar to Lego. Actually, you know what? Scratch that. Lego isn't the best comparison. They're really more like sandcastles. You're probably thinking, wait, what's the difference between Legos and sandcastles? They're both just sitting around building crap. And to that I would say, correct, but short-sighted. I'll explain the distinction in a bit. The core difference between the two games comes from depth and perspective. One is first person, while the other is third person. One has an engaging crafting system, while the other simulates entire industries. And one has an iconic world with a blank slate history, while the other generates world histories that make the works of Tolkien look like shoddy outline for a D&D campaign. Okay, there's a lot of differences when you get down to the nitty-gritty, but the bottom line is that Minecraft is accessible and a ton of fun, while Dwarf Fortress is deeper than the Mariana Trench and a ton of fun. Why we're talking about them together isn't because of the differences, though. It's because of the similarities. Both are ultimately games about taking a randomly generated environment and creating something out of it. It's a pretty straightforward setup, but how does that turn into a story of any kind? We've got a protagonist and a setting, but where's the antagonist? Where's the conflict? Well, the conflict comes from something called a chaos generator, which is exactly what it sounds like. It makes chaos. In Minecraft, there's always a creeper just itching to blow your house up, while in Dwarf Fortress, let's put it this way. The game's tutorial ends with the line, "Losing is fun." This is why I said sandcastles, not Legos. See, when you're playing with Legos, you're sitting inside with a pile of inventoried bricks. When you build a sandcastle, you're on the beach and have to work around the random nature of the beach itself, traffic from other people, and the tide waiting to inevitably crush everything you've carefully built. But you know what? That's okay. Because Dwarf Fortress is right. Losing is fun, or it can be. If there's a narrative message to take from these games, that would be it. Everything breaks, everything falls apart, everything eventually ends, but that's okay. You can throw a hissy fit, or you can start over, rebuild it, and maybe make it better this time. It's from this lack of structure, this lack of scripting, this noise and chaos that stories emerge. Special stories that involve a layer of investment that scripted narratives can't quite replicate. It's one thing to watch a film about the downfall of a civilization or the rise of a hero. It's another to see barren landscape transform into a cozy, bustling village through your own effort, or sit helpless as a kingdom you've culled from bare stone devolves into civil war. Like this one time I'm playing Dwarf Fortress, and over the course of a couple years of game time, the neighboring Goblin Kingdom sent wave after wave of siege against me, eventually breaching my outer defenses, and while the rest of my military hid in the basement crying into their beer, one lone axe maiden stood against all comers, racking up 32 confirmed kills before losing her right arm. She still managed to kill 3 more invaders with her shield alone, then a giant toad got in a lucky strike and broke her neck, opening the way for the remaining invaders to swarm the fort. Honestly, the rest of the dwarves had what was coming to them after that. Stupid pansies couldn't even get out there to back her up. You want to know what a real hero looks like? That's a real hero. Blood and honor. Hold the line. Nerd.